Is Zac Gallen back from the dead? Not so sure about that. Welcome into Fantasy Baseball today on Tuesday, July 2nd, Wednesday, July 2nd. Whoops. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers. Today on the show, Edward Cabrera continues his great run. George Springer had a monster game on Canada Day, and I've got some questions for Chris, so you better be ready. All right, let's jump in.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
You know who's going crazy right now? Edward Cabrera, last 10 starts, 2.05 ERA, 110 whip. Another great one here.
You know, you said, I hope you're ready for questions. That's kind of the whole dynamic on the Wednesday show, right? Like
burning questions.
Yeah, you ask me questions, I answer them. That's most of the show. So yeah, I think I'm ready. And Edward Cabrera, I mean, we have talked for, 5 years about Edward Cabrera, and the thing we have always said is if he could just throw strikes. And then starting around the beginning of May, he lowered his arm slot, and he started throwing a lot more strikes. And it's turned him into the kind of pitcher we always hoped he would be. Over his last 10 starts, 2.05 ERA, 110 whip, 55 strikeouts over 52 2/3 innings in that stretch. That includes 7 shutout innings against the Twins on Tuesday. I almost said Monday. So I'm all screwed up too. 6 strikeouts, only 1 walk, 2 hits allowed, 14 whiffs. And I think the biggest thing, and it's what I've always said about Edward Cabrera, is the weirdest thing about him is when you actually watch him pitch, he commands his changeup really well. He commands his curveball pretty well. He commands his slider pretty well. And it had always been the four-seamer, which should, in theory, be the easiest pitch to command, that he just could not throw consistently for strikes, could not throw consistently where he wanted to. And this season, he's become much more of a sinker pitcher. He only threw 5 four-seamers in this one. His usage of that pitch has been down to about 9% over the course of the season. The sinker's been up, right around. He throws everything kind of equally except for the four-seamer now. And, it's not like the sinker's a great pitch. It's not a worm burner. Is that what people say about a sinker? He's not like generating Jose Soriano level launch angles. His average launch angle on the sinker is actually 12 degrees, which is really high. The average for a sinker is 5 degrees. And he gives up like a 390 xwOBA on the pitch this season. That's pretty bad. But the four-seamer is a 496 xwOBA allowed. So I think, whether it's he commands the sinker better, it tunnels better with the changeup in particular, or it's just not as bad as the four-seamer, even if it's not a great pitch in its own right, some combination of all that has allowed Edward Cabrera to take this big step forward. Now, I do want to say Scott White not showing up on Edward Cabrera's big day. I don't know. People are saying he's scared to face the music on Edward Cabrera after poo-pooing him last week. No, Scott, the reason Scott was down on Edward Cabrera last week was he had only gone 6+ innings once in, I think at that point it was his last 8 starts. Well, now it's twice in 10 starts, which is the same number of starts he has with 4 or fewer innings. So there are still definitely limitations with Edward Cabrera, but this is the best version of Edward Cabrera that we've ever seen by far. And I don't think he's an ace. I think the Marlins are still a mediocre team, despite, I think, 8 longest winning streak since 2008 now. But I do think at 52% rostered, he needs to be much more widely rostered. I'm going to say pretty much in any league. I could see there being some shallower points leagues because quality starts are going to be hard to come by. Wins are going to be hard to come by. I can see him being pretty fringy there. But I think anywhere else, Edward Cabrera should be rostered at this point.
Yeah, he is a weird pitcher. He almost uses he pitches backwards. His changeup is kind of like his fastball, and then he uses his sinker as a changeup, which it doesn't make sense, but it kind of makes sense for him.
It's because he throws his changeup harder than like most Hall of Fame pitchers threw their fastballs. His changeup averages 93.7 miles per hour. It's only 3 miles per hour slower than his sinker. which is, I mean, we're usually talking like 7 to 10 mile per hour differences between changeups and fastballs. So, you know, he's a weird pitcher. There are clear limitations, but with the way he's going right now and the fact that a trade seems, if not likely, at least probable or possible, I think we've got to just add Edward Cabrera and see what happens.
Would you take him over Ryan Nelson or Quinn Priester? Those two seem kind of like the recent standouts from the past couple days.
I think I don't want to say trust Edward Cabrera because that's not the right word, but I think he has more upside than those guys. Ryan Nelson, I don't know how sustainable this super heavy four-seamer approach is, especially it's not like it's Brandon Woodruff's old four-seamer where it was like 33% whiff rates and you can get away with throwing it that much. So I do think at some point there's going to be some issues with those guys. But that's also true of Edward Cabrera. But I think the upside's a little higher here.
I would lean that way as well. Yeah, Ryan Nelson remains confounding. We spoke about him yesterday. He is just a weird pitcher, how much he uses that fastball. But it's worked. That's the thing. I mean, we're going on like a calendar year now, Ryan Nelson just being a quality pitcher. So I don't want to downplay him. And Quinn Priester has made some changes where he's throwing his breaking pitches more and his sinker less, and that's been a recipe for success. But if I was ranking those three, I think I would go Cabrera, Nelson, Priester.
I think that's right, yeah. I think just in terms of talent, that's certainly how I would rank it.
All right, and shout out to those Marlins. As you said, they now have a better record than the Braves, which is just kind of crazy to think about. But, yeah, they are hot right now. And let's move on to Zac Gallen. Because last week, famous funeral here on the podcast, is he back from the dead? Maybe. I don't know. 7 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned run against the Giants, 10 strikeouts here to 0 walks. 16 whiffs on 101 pitches, through 69% of his pitches for strikes. And look, that is a big key for him. Control has been a massive problem for Zac Gallen dating back to last year. The reason why I stopped short of saying he's definitely back, he still gave up 10 hard hits in this game, 96.1 average exit velocity, and we know he's capable of having good starts. He has 5 starts now of at least 6 innings, 1 earned run or less, but they're surrounded by a bunch of bad starts this year. So I think this is a nice first step for Zombie Gallen, if we're, continuing with that theme. But I need to see him string together, 2, 3, 4 good starts before I want to say the word trust or that he's definitively back. What do you think about that?
Can you go ahead and share put the screen share that I put in there? Because this was an interview that Zac Gallen did with, I think it was Dallas Braden. I guess he has a show. And I just think this quote is so representative of Zac Gallen right now.
And that pitch is a love-hate relationship. It should be so good. I should be able to roll out of bed with it.
Right.
And it's when it's not right, it just drives me nuts.
That's him talking about his knuckle curve. And that is, I think, just sums it up, because when he's got that curveball working, it can be a great pitch, but for some reason, it's just super inconsistent for him, and he really had it today. It was, 7 whiffs with that pitch, 8 whiffs with that pitch on 15 swings. It's actually, overall, the whiff rate is 42% for the season, which is a lot higher than I thought it was, because I know there have been plenty of starts and stretches this season where it feels like he doesn't have the curveball, but I don't know. It's really frustrating. I think I'm going to take the same stance with him that I've taken with Kevin Gausman and to a lesser extent Spencer Strider. I made this comp recently. Those guys I think are better than Zac Gallen, especially Strider. But it's nice to get the reminder that he's still capable of this. Is the floor anywhere near where it needs to be for you to trust him? No. But at least we're getting glimpses of what the upside can be. Now, we had that Yankee start earlier in the season. 14 strikeouts, best start of his career. So it's not like we were totally hurting for evidence that Zac Gallen was capable of this, but it's a good reminder that if you're dropping Zac Gallen for Ryan Nelson, I don't really think Ryan Nelson's capable of this kind of stuff. Like his start yesterday was what, eight strikeouts? It was good.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any question when Zac Gallen's at his best, Ryan Nelson can't compete with that. It's been a long time since we've seen 2 starts in a row where Zac Gallen was at his best, let alone a whole month where he's actually helping your fantasy team. It's been like a year since we've seen that. So it's rough, but I don't think I was ever ready to drop him last week. Maybe you can run the tape back and I'm out there saying drop Zac Gallen everywhere, but I don't think I ever said that. So I'm just hanging on to him and hoping the next one's good, but I'm certainly not sure I'm ready to start him. What's the next matchup even?
Well, he is in line for 2 starts this week. I'm not exactly sure what the next one is.
Oh, I got it. At the Angels on Friday. Or no, sorry. Versus the Royals on Sunday.
So he gets 2 awesome matchups in a row.
If we had talked this one through beforehand, the Giants are terrible right now.
I still think you had to bench Gallen, man.
I think so, yeah, especially in a roto league.
Previous 9 starts before this, it was a 6.97 ERA, 159 WHIP, 13 home runs allowed. So as someone, I think I have Gallen in 2 leagues. I benched him in both. And while it's annoying to see a start like this, I think the process was right with benching him. So I think you and Scott were, less likely to drop him last week than I was. You guys were definitely like, all right, he has to be on the bench for now. But I would stick with that. I think we still need to see more, but obviously this was a great step in the right direction.
It's lining up really well for him to close out the first half, though, because versus Kansas City and then at the Angels, it's a tough ballpark, but that's a team that can still strike out a lot. So let's hope he carries this over for the next couple of starts.
Yeah, I do think that was an interesting quote that you brought up, too. I think there was a podcast earlier this season where I brought up this exact thing to Scott, and I said, I think Zac Gallen just kind of goes as his curveball goes, and I think Scott kind of shot it down. But, that's his best pitch. It is a hard pitch to locate, obviously, and so in starts where he doesn't have it, those are, most likely his worst starts. So nice outing here from Zac Gallen. And I cheated here because I chose 2 players. I got to give a shout out to George Springer, who absolutely demolished the Yankees on Canada Day. 3 for 4 with a double dong, including a grand slam, 7 RBI. And over his last 7 games, he has a .462 batting average, 3 homers, 15 RBI in 7 games with 2 stolen bases. So, Chris, remember that conversation we had last week about Springer struggling the month before all this? I think he's probably fine.
Yeah, I was writing about Kyle Stowers for tomorrow's newsletter because he's back on a good heater right now. And I think with both of these guys, the biggest takeaway from the last couple of weeks is just it looked like they were petering out after having really unexpected breakthroughs. And it's good to see them bouncing back. It doesn't necessarily mean that George Springer will continue to be a must-start player the rest of the way, but it would have been easy to write him off after a bad month or so. And now he's showing that he's capable of pulling out of it. And for what it's worth, the quality of contact metrics have been excellent pretty much all the way through. So he still has a 383 xWOBA, which is his best for a season since 2020.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand how he's doing it, but it's been fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how he's got back to hitting the ball as hard, but watching this game, I heard the Blue Jays mention that Springer has consciously tried to put the ball in the air more this season, and that is reflected in the data. He has his highest fly ball rate and highest barrel rate since 2021. So it is working. He's putting the ball in the air. He's hitting it harder, barreling it up. It's leading to home runs, and it has been a great resurgence season here for George Springer. Before we hit our first break, just a reminder to sign up for the FBT newsletter. If you haven't already, scan the QR code if you're watching on YouTube. That will bring you right to the website where you can sign up for free, and you'll get a newsletter delivered to your inbox every weekday of the season. And big thanks to those watching us live. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe on YouTube as well. Let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. News and notes. The Astros strike again. Yordan Alvarez has been shut down from all activities after reporting renewed soreness in his hand while taking swings on Monday. He'll visit a specialist within the next couple days. And I did see some quotes from their GM, Dana Brown, when he was asked about, is surgery a possibility? He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He said, we'll see what the specialist says. So
that's concerning, and the Astros are my mortal enemy now. Just the way all this has worked out over the past year with Kyle Tucker and now Yordan Alvarez and Jeremy Pena, it's just so frustrating. I'm not saying I know better than them. I don't. I'm dumb. Like I didn't go to med school. I'm not a physical trainer. I don't know anything. It's just frustrating to watch this happen with so many high profile, high impact players for them. It's just more than anything. It's just frustrating. Might just be a string of bad luck. That could be the explanation, but it's been a rough year.
Another day, more Dodger pitcher updates. Tyler Glasnow is expected to ramp up to 75 pitches in his next rehab start with AAA on Thursday. Blake Snell is expected to face live hitters on Wednesday, and Michael Kopech was placed back on the IL, this time with right knee inflammation. Brandon Woodruff has completed his rehab assignment and is expected to be activated from the IL to start this weekend against the Marlins. And in 10 starts in the minors, 2.79 ERA, 117 WHIP, 7.5 K per nine, 10.7% swinging strike rate, and most notably, his fastball has averaged 4 miles per hour less than the last time we saw him back in 2023. So Woodruff is 86% rostered. Chris, I think a lot of that is people just holding on to the name value here. My expectations are pretty low, but I am happy to be proven wrong by Woodruff if it happens.
I would love to be proven wrong. But my expectations, like you, are extremely low. And I think the biggest thing is just that fastball velocity. I know you can look around baseball and see guys who throw 91, 92 and have good fastballs. Like that's not the thing. It's just that when he's been good, he's been 95, 96, 97 with the fastball on average. And now he's at 91.9 so far in his AAA rehab start. And that's a huge drop. I mean, we're talking 4 mile per hour difference between where he was in 2023. And he had, let me make sure I get the number right, 74 strikeouts in 2023. 52 of them were on his 2 fastballs. 47 out of 74 were on the 4-seamer. Brandon Woodruff has been more than basically any pitcher in baseball reliant on his 4-seamer to get strikeouts. He was consistently a 33 to 29% fastball whiff rate guy, and I just don't see how he can be that at 92. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, and I'm pulling for him. If you have him on your roster, let's take that free look this weekend before you have to activate him. But unless he's averaging like 93, 94 in this start and looks really good, and I'm talking like 7-8 strikeouts really good against the Marlins, I'm more inclined to just drop him than activate him when it comes time.
The next question is, whose spot in the rotation is he going to take? because as of now, they have Freddie Peralta, Jacob Misiorowski, Jose Quintana, Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick. I mean, Jose Quintana hasn't been very good lately. I guess they could go that route, but
yeah, I don't. He still has a 3.30 ERA. He hasn't had an ERA over 3.75 since 2021. It looks like. So I don't know how likely it is that they just drop Jose Quintana, especially like Quinn Priester, I assume has some options, and Chad Patrick has 3 options I'm looking at now. So I don't think it's going to be Misiorowski. It's definitely not going to be Peralta. It could be any of the other 3. Hopefully I wouldn't mind just, hey, let's go with a 6-man rotation for the next 2 weeks, right? We just got to get through the All-Star break and then make that decision, because 2 turns in the rotation, a lot can happen in terms of injuries and underperformance, and that problem might take care of itself. So it stinks that Logan Henderson didn't get another chance before Woodruff came back.
I don't even want to say it out loud, but this is the same team that sent down Logan Henderson when he was pitching well. So I don't think they're going to send.
I can't see it.
Down. I hope they don't.
Because Misiorowski threw more innings than, he threw about 20 more innings than Henderson last year. I would say there's almost no chance that they send him down. It is funny that the Twins made the Brewers, made like a kind of panic trade at the start of the season to get Quinn Priester. And they gave up a lot. They gave up like a top 45 draft pick and a prospect for him. And then they've kind of had more pitchers than they had spots for most of the season. It's been weird.
Yeah. Kerry Carpenter was placed on the IL with a right hamstring strain. Max Scherzer said he experienced some forearm tightness after his thumb began to fatigue during his start against the Yankees on Monday, which that's been consistent with what he said. Most of the injuries he's dealt with the past handful of years have been because of the thumb that kind of lead to other injuries. So it's not looking great right now for Max Scherzer. In a surprising turn of events, Hunter Goodman was not placed on the IL, and instead he started for the Rockies on Tuesday, and then he hit 2 more home runs. So now he's up to 16. He's been awesome this year. I feel for people, Chris, who might have benched Hunter Goodman based on the report. I am one of those people, but what else were you going to do if you thought he was going to go on the IL? So
I mean, didn't they call up another catcher too? Didn't they promote Austin Nola or something like that?
Yeah, I saw something like that.
Yeah. I had one league where I was like kind of kicking myself because I didn't remember until like 7:00. Oh yeah, I wanted to bench Hunter Goodman, and I got 2 home runs out of it. So it was already worth making that mistake, I guess.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, Chris.
Absolutely.
So, there you go. Wilson Contreras left after being hit on his left hand by a fastball from Paul Skeens, which is always scary. X-rays came back negative, and Wilson Contreras is day-to-day. Josh Naylor was supposed to return to the lineup. He was in there, and then he was scratched. Continues to deal with that neck injury. Jordan Westberg has missed 4 straight with the injury to his left index finger. Jacob Wilson was scratched from the lineup due to right hamstring soreness. I feel like this hamstring has been a problem for him off and on for weeks now, maybe even a month. Just kind of been annoying for Jacob Wilson. Bo Bichette was out of the lineup for a second straight day after tweaking his right knee. He is day-to-day. Nolan Arenado also out of the lineup with that right index finger he suffered on Sunday, and then he DH'd on Monday, and now he was dealing with some renewed pain in that finger. So have to monitor Nolan Arenado. Sean Manaea resumed a rehab assignment at AA on Tuesday. I did not see the results of that, but he recently got a cortisone shot in his elbow, so I hope all is well with Sean Manaea. Trent Grisham is likely headed for the IL with that left hamstring injury. The Rockies have recalled outfield prospect Yanquiel Fernandez from AAA, and he's 22 years old, and this season at AAA was hitting .284 with 13 home runs and .849 OPS. Doesn't strike out very much. Okay exit velocities. The max exit velocity looks better. 6% rostered. I think just a name to watch for now, Chris. I mean, NL only leagues, sure. But he's a left-handed bat, wasn't in the lineup against a lefty here. I will be interested to see if the Rockies just give him some run against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, it's a somewhat interesting profile, and obviously the Rockies can use all the talent they can get, but I just don't know how many spots there are for him, weirdly. Like, I personally don't think Mickey Moniak should really be blocking anyone with any whiff of long-term potential, but I don't think they're going to sit him. Tyler Freeman's been good. Jordan Beck has showed a lot of potential this season, so yeah, I'm just not sure the opportunities are going to be there for Yanquiel Hernandez.
Yeah, that is fair. Jeremy Pena with Jeremy Pena going on the IL. Shea Whitcomb was recalled by the Astros. He's 26 years old. All this guy has done is crush AAA last year, this year. He was hitting 280 with 19 home runs, 6 steals, and 942 OPS. But the Astros opted to start Mauricio Dubon instead of him. So I don't know if they're going to play Whitcomb, but he has crushed the minor leagues. Gabriel Arias was placed in the IL with a left ankle sprain. Christian Koss was placed in the IL with a left hamstring strain. Luis Matos was recalled. And we had some bad weather here on Tuesday. 3 rainouts, and then the Reds and Red Sox got suspended in the 4th inning. They'll pick that game up on Wednesday. Plus, they'll play another one. I think we have 19 games on the schedule on Wednesday, so
yeah,
it's gonna be a tough one.
I was just like going through the Mets triple or minor league farm system to see like where did Sean Manaea pitch, and I see you putting the rundown. He was supposed to start at AA. Well, I looked at high A, AA, and AAA. I think all of the Mets affiliates at all 3 of those levels also got rained out today. So it doesn't look like Manaea pitched today.
All right, so then that should hopefully happen on Wednesday. So, I mean, yeah, I'm seeing a report here that it was supposed to be his final rehab start. So whenever he makes that rehab start, assuming it goes well and his elbow bounces back fine, then I don't know. Maybe as soon as next week, we'll see Sean Manaea back up with the Mets.
Also, I do just want to point out, just give Shea Whitcomb a chance. Like, he's only gotten 55 plate appearances at the major league level, and he hasn't done much with them, in fairness. But he has experience playing short, second, third, left, right. Can probably play first base in a pinch. Like, give him a chance. He's put up huge numbers. 19 homers this season already at AAA. I think it was 25-25 last year. He's 26, so it's unlikely that Shea Whitcomb is much more than a quad A player, but I just would like to see them give him a chance at some point.
Agreed. Let's talk some waiver wire hitters from Tuesday's action. Kyle Stowers, who you mentioned, he is picking things back up, 2 for 4 with his 14th homer. Last 17 games, 327 batting average, 4 homers, an OPS over 1,100. The annoying part, and I think Scott and I talked about this last week, he has started just 2 of their last 9 games against lefties. That's despite him hitting 317 against left-handed pitching this season. So I don't really get it. He's up to 65% rostered. Chris, do you think that number needs to be higher? We're talking probably points leagues at that point.
So I think part of the problem is that stretch probably coincides with him getting really cold. He had gone before, I think he had gone 31 games without a home run, and then he has 4 in his last 8 now, I think. And so I want to say it's probably just because of that. He had just gotten cold at that stretch, and now that he's heating up, hopefully he remains in the lineup more consistently, because he looks really good. He went through that cold stretch, but then turned it around, and that seems really promising to me, because it's not easy. Nothing as a Major League Baseball player is easy, but you'll see guys get off to hot starts. The league adjusts to them, and they just don't have an adjustment back. Zach McKinstry was like top 20 in WOBA in the first month of the season, right? And what I like to see is when a guy struggles and then figures it out. They have an adjustment to the adjustment. That doesn't mean Kyle Stowers is just a superstar forever, but The underlying numbers back up what he's done. I think he's more like a 260 hitter maybe, but I think the power is real. So I do think Kyle Stowers is a viable target.
You're not taking him over any of the recent names we talked about, though, right? The Profars, Austin Hayes.
Not those guys, no.
What about Joe Adell?
Probably not. I think I'd take Joe Adell as well. Mostly it just comes down to left versus right, and Adell and Hayes both have much more locked in roles. There's no question that those guys are everyday players. There's a question with Kyle Stowers.
You mentioned Jordan Beck. He had himself a big game as well. He went 5 for 5 with a run scored. Last 24 games, he's hitting .316 with 2 homers, 12 runs, 12 RBI, and 2 steals. So you'd like to see more power and speed, but hitting over 300 during that time. 48% rostered. I think that sounds right. I think he needs to be rostered in 5 outfielder leagues, but probably not points leagues because the plate discipline is still not great.
I mean, look, the thing that's nice about this, though, is this is what's supposed to happen at Coors Field. You're supposed to get these flawed Rockies hitters. Let's say what it is. They're Rockies. They're not very good generally, but Coors Field is supposed to inflate what they're doing. And so you have a guy who maybe is a 245 hitter in the real world, but because he plays half his games at Coors Field, can he hit 275? Can Jordan Beck be a 275 hitter with 2020? Yeah, I think so. And I think that's a very useful player in most categories leagues. Probably not a must start in 3 outfielder categories leagues, but certainly any 5 outfielder leagues. Yeah.
Andres Gimenez had himself a nice game, 2 for 3 with a walk, and his 5th home run had 3 RBI. The home run came off Max Fried as well, so lefty on left. Very impressive stuff here for Gimenez, who has been disappointing. Obviously, he's hitting .207, 5 homers, 10 steals, missed some time, has only played 59 games this season, but his XBA entering Tuesday was .261, and his BABIP is 66 points below his career mark, so I would still bet on the batting average climbing here. And look, we know who Andres Gimenez is. 46% rostered means there are probably some roto leagues with a middle infield spot where he's not rostered. And I don't think that should be the case.
Yeah, but you'd rather have Otto Lopez, right?
Oh yeah.
Let me think. Let me see if I can pull up Luis Garcia. You'd rather have him.
Yeah.
Bryson Stott, he sits against some lefties.
I always just tie them together. It feels like they have such a similar skill set.
Like Jeff McNeil has slowed down a little bit. Willie Castro has as well.
I would take Gimenez over both those guys, McNeil and Castro.
Okay.
Probably not Stott, just because Stott is in a better lineup, better ballpark.
Yeah, and steals a lot of bases as well. I think I'd rather have McNeil or Castro, but if Gimenez gets hot, I think it would be fine to drop them for him.
Like Polanco is still 51% rostered. I would make that swap.
I think I would make that one. He's cooled down a lot. He does not play every day. I think that's fair.
I know Ernie Clement is hitting well right now. It probably comes down to what kind of skill set you need.
I'd rather just ride the hot hand with Clement.
Yeah. I think if you need speed, I'd be all right with Gimenez, but Clement's hitting for a great batting average right now. He's been leading off too.
Leading off. He's starting to draw walks a little more often too. So yeah, no, he's been pretty impressive.
That one is closer for sure. Gary Sanchez, we mention the name every day. Like, what year is it? Unleash the Kraken. Here we go. 1 for 3 with his 5th home run, and this one came off of Jacob deGrom, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Last 13 games for Sanchez, he's hitting .354 with 4 homers, 19 RBI, OPS over 1,000. He did also he's also getting X-rays on his finger after getting hit by a foul tip. So got to make sure he's all right. Has started 8 straight games, 27% rostered. Any 2 catcher leagues for sure. Some people have asked me about 1 catcher leagues. No way. There has to be just better options, but
yeah,
in all 2 catcher leagues for sure, as hot as he is.
I didn't even realize they have Jacob Stallings now. Okay, I was wondering who the other catcher on their roster is, just because. I mean, if Sanchez has to go on the IL,
Basayo time.
Basayo, right? Like, let's just do it. The universe is trying to tell you something.
Two other names in the deepest of leagues. Jake McCarthy doing some nice things since being recalled. 7 games, 240 batting average, but 2 home runs, 1 steal, and 829 OPS. And Victor Caratini for even deeper 2-catcher leagues. Last 11 games, 270 batting average, 4 homers, 12 RBI. He's kind of playing sitting every third game, but in leagues that deep, I mean, you'll take anything as your second catcher. Any interest, Chris, in Jake McCarthy or Victor Caratini?
I think these are just mono league guys. I don't think even 15-team leagues. I have a ton of interest in them.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll run through some waiver wire pitchers, and then I've got some questions for Chris. Some more questions. We'll do that right after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Waiver wire pitchers. We spoke about the most exciting one already. That was Edward Cabrera, but a couple other names here. Scott, you win this time. Andre Palante had a strong start at the Pirates. 7 shutout innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 outings. He's 34% rostered. Looks like he lines up for 2 starts next week. Jeffrey Springs was okay in his revenge game at Tampa Bay. 5 1/3, 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He is 57% rostered, gets the Blue Jays next week. And Tyler Anderson turned in a quality start at the Braves. 6 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts, 15 whiffs on 87 pitches here. Velocity was up a little bit for Tyler Anderson. Might have helped him. His previous 8 starts before this, 6.47 ERA and a 171 whip. So gets the D-backs next week. Not so sure we're into that one. But any interest in any of these names?
No, not really. Palante, just because he closes out the half with a 2-start week against the Nationals and Braves, I think is okay as a streamer in points leagues, but I don't look at any of these 3 guys and think that their roster rate is too low. Like, I saw Tyler Anderson had a good start today. For some reason, I remembered him having a couple of good starts recently, and that was totally false. My mind is playing tricks on me because he's been terrible lately. No, I don't really have any interest in any of these guys. Like, they'll have good stretches, but I would much rather have Edward Cabrera, who is rostered in fewer leagues than Jeffrey Springs right now. I would absolutely make that switch.
Yes, 100%. I know Springs has done an okay job keeping runs off the board this season. 3 earned runs or fewer in 12 of 16 starts. A 4.07 ERA, but that comes with a 4.77 FIP and a 4.70 xFIP. So I am not buying what Jeffrey Springs has done so far. All right, let's get into 8 burning questions for Chris. Shane Baz, strong start against the Athletics. 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs allowed, 11 strikeouts with 20 whiffs on 90 pitches. And last 4 starts since introducing that cutter, he has a 2.67 ERA, 1 whip, 32 strikeouts over 27 innings. Chris, how much do you buy into this new version of Shane Baz?
Well, buying into Shane Baz has certainly never bit us, not within the last 3 months, let's say. So I don't see how this could go wrong. No, I think the fact that we are seeing a conscious change in Shane Baz's approach with this new cutter, it's a different version of him. What was interesting tonight was it kind of wasn't. He threw the cutter, I think 14% of the time in this one. He had been more like 35 to 40%. He'd been leading with the cutter his previous 3 starts. And he did not today, but the command on the 4-seamer especially was just terrific. It was masterful. All up above the belt or higher in the zone. And that's what you're going to have to do if you're going to be, relying on a 4-seamer this much for whiffs. The nice thing that I like seeing, and this was what Shane Baz was struggling with early on the season, even when things were going well, is he was just throwing way too many pitches in the strike zone. It was like 56, 57% zone rate, according to Baseball Savant early on. Today it was 48%. And the problem is, look, you can get a lot of called strikes that way, but you need to miss bats. You need to put guys away. You just can't rely that much on called strikes. And he did generate chases in this one, 36%. That's also a very good mark for him. I'm still skeptical. It's really only like 2 great starts in the past 4, right? Because before that, one of them was bad, one of them was good, but it was like 4 walks and 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So it's really the last 2 where I think he's only walked 2. He's got 20 strikeouts. We're still dealing with a very small sample size here with Shane Baz, but it's been impressive enough that I can't imagine sitting him for, whatever his next start is. I think I wrote that down earlier.
So he's in line for 2 starts next week at Detroit, at Boston. So
it's not great.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to start him, yeah.
I think so as well. Boston's coming around a little bit, but they still have so many young guys in the lineup that, they can be prone to striking out and things.
And no Kerry Carpenter for the Tigers certainly helps too.
Yeah, that helps, but
it's still a tough matchup.
They've been a pesky team, man, just all season long. Let's talk about Rafael Devers. Since joining the Giants, he is batting .204 with 2 home runs and a 37% strikeout rate. Still hitting the ball very hard, but lots of ground balls during the stretch. An adjustment period here, but Chris, how worried are you about Rafael Devers in San Fran?
The only reason I would be worried, and let me make sure. Okay, he has been dealing with a groin and back issue since getting to San Francisco. They revealed that today, and it hasn't been enough to keep him off the field, but it has kind of delayed their plans to get him, some reps at first base at least. And if you want to be cynical, maybe you can say that, he's exaggerating it, but given the performance, I think it makes sense that he's been so cold, and, the injury excuse certainly tracks there. So look, you're not sitting Rafael Devers. All-Star break's coming up. Hopefully that gives him a chance to get right. And I can't say I'm not worried at all, but his track record is so good, and he's been so good this season that if he just had this 2-week stretch, but he hadn't been traded, would we even notice? I don't really think so,
Yeah. What about Grant Holmes, who was awesome against the Angels? 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts, 27 whiffs on 106 pitches, 16 of those on the slider. Granted, he was facing the Angels. They have the second highest strikeout rate versus right-handed pitching this season, but he's been much better of late. It's 4 earned runs total over his last 4 starts. He has 2 double-digit strikeout outings during that span as well. The question here, Chris, how high can we get Grant Holmes in the starting pitcher rankings? Because we all have him in that 50 to 55 range, but just going back to this kind of like just inside the top 40, I have Gausman and Bybee and Castillo and Flaherty, and thinking more about it, like, why shouldn't Grant Holmes just be in a similar range as those guys at this point,
I can't make a strong case against it. I have him 54th in my Roto rankings. I'm not sure. Probably higher in points, I would imagine, because he's RP eligible. The biggest thing is just his control's really bad, and it's been getting worse as the season's gone on. He has 18 walks in 31 2/3 innings over his past 6 starts, dating back to the start of June. That's the biggest thing holding him back. But the strikeout stuff is significantly better than I expected it to be. The slider is ridiculous. 16 whiffs with the slider.
Yeah.
In this one, that's only going to drive the whiff rate up. It was already 43% entering today, and the curveball's come along really nicely after a slow start. His fastball gets hit really hard. He doesn't get a lot of whiffs with it generally. The command is bad. I do wonder if he might not be better off like throwing the cutter more often instead of the 4-seamer, but I don't know if he has the command for it. I think he's really good. I think he's limited. And so if you wanted to say that you rank Grant Holmes 40th, I wouldn't really argue with you. I think it's super fluid, and it has been for a long time. If you wanted to argue he was like, let me see. I've got like a lot of injured guys in the like 40-ish range, like Blake Snell and Hunter Green and Tyler Glasnow, Michael King, where we just don't really know. Chris Sale, I have no idea when all those guys are going to be back. So, like, if you wanted to put him ahead of any of those guys, if you wanted to put him ahead of Kevin Gausman, I think that's perfectly reasonable. So I can see the case for Grant Holmes as a top 36 pitcher, even in Roto. And obviously, I think in a head-to-head points league, it's even easier to make that case because he is RP eligible.
Michael Busch is doing his thing. 3 for 3 with a walk, run, and RBI. Last 7 games, he's hitting .391, 2 homers, 1 steal, 1092 OPS. Strikeout rate is down this season from 29% to 22%. He's hitting the ball hard. Expected stats look awesome. We know that there are limitations here because he doesn't play against left-handed pitching. Even with that, he's currently ranked as the 9th best first baseman in Roto, the 11th in head-to-head points. So, Chris, is Michael Busch just a top 12 first baseman the rest of the season?
This is another one where seeing him adjust to the adjustments had been really nice because, remember, he had an awesome start to 2024. I don't have the exact numbers, 823 OPS in the first half, but it was like a mid-800s OPS through the end of June, and then he really fell off. Didn't have an OPS over 800 in any of the final 3 months of the season, so seeing him start off similarly hot in 2025, go through a big slump in May, and then come back out of it in June has been really encouraging, and obviously he starts off July with a good game. I don't think he's a top 12 first baseman, but it's a weak enough position after the first, 7 or 8 that, again, I'm not going to argue if you wanted to put him in the top 12. Would I trade him for Yandy Diaz? I think I'd rather have Yandy Diaz. Then we've got this like whole Paul Goldschmidt, Tyler Soderstrom, Spencer Torkelson, Jack Caglione.
That's the group that I think he's kind of surpassing right now.
I think he is right now, but if we talked about this 3 weeks ago, some of those guys looked ahead of him. So I think they're all pretty similar, and it's just who happens to be hot right now is the biggest differentiator.
Yeah, I think I still would take Torkelson. I know he cooled off in June. I would have Nick Kurtz ahead because he's been hot.
Sure.
Yandy Diaz.
I'd take Vinny P over him.
That's one too where Vinny P has been fine. Like the overall numbers have gotten up to I guess close to what we've expected, but still a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think Busch is in this mix, man. So for me, I have Kurtz and Yandy Diaz at 10 and 11. And then I think I'm going to move Aranda up a little bit. So I think 12 and 13 are like Aranda and Busch in some order. So I think he's right in that mix. Been really good. What about Gavin Williams? Another bad outing against the Cubs this time. Tough matchup. 5 2/3 innings, 4 runs, 4 more walks, only 2 strikeouts here, 10 hard hits. He has 3+ walks in 4 straight. He has 3+ walks in 9 of 17 starts this season. The strikeouts have been down lately as well. Still 86% rostered. Chris, can we drop Gavin Williams?
He is so frustrating, man.
Yeah.
That is now, did you say this? More walks than strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 starts?
I didn't say that in particular, but
that's really bad. I don't know. Because it started to look like he was figuring it out, because Gavin Williams has had this weird thing where going back to his rookie season, it was like 4-seamer, slider, curveball. He maybe threw an occasional changeup. Last year, it was 4-seamer, sweeper, curveball, and then he introduced a cutter. This year, he comes out just 4-seamer, sweeper, curveball, starts to work the cutter back in. In May, looks like he's really found the feel for the curveball. He's got like a legit 4-pitch mix with a lot of different looks. And then he falls back on hard times. And I don't know if it's ever going to happen for him. It's kind of Edward Cabrera-esque, right? where
I was just going to say, why wouldn't we just take
Yeah.
Edward Cabrera? It's a similar profile where you worry about the walks, but Cabrera's pitching so much better.
Cabrera's at least doing it right now. I guess the argument would be, one, Gavin Williams just has a better fastball. His whiff rate on his fastball is stronger than anything Cabrera's ever done. And then that sweeper's been awesome. 42% whiff rate. Cabrera doesn't have that kind of swing and miss pitch either. And then on top of that, the curveball has probably been comparable to Cabrera's best whiff pitch. So I think the aggregate parts are probably still, I think Gavin Williams is a better talent. But like you said, Gavin Williams is doing it right now. Or, sorry, Edward Cabrera is doing it right now. So why not just take the guy who's hot? It's a good question that I don't have a good answer to.
5.1 walks per 9 for Gavin Williams this season, by far the highest among qualified starting pitchers. Yeah. Luis Ortiz is second at 4.3. That's nearly a whole walk per 9 innings. So, man, I think Gavin Williams is droppable at this point. Maybe
that's reasonable.
That comes back to bite me. I know he has prospect pedigree. There's no doubt that there's talent here, but just the inability to throw strikes has been so frustrating. So, yeah, for Edward Cabrera, I would make that swap.
It's honestly just like, it's just inconsistency all the way around. Because what you'll see with Gavin Williams is, okay, the command is consistently bad, consistently inconsistent, let's say. He goes through some stretches where he's like an extension monster and he's just way down the mound and he's getting like 7 feet of extension. And there's other times where it's more like 6'6". And there are times when he's averaging 97 with his fastball. And then there's times when he's averaging 95. It really seems like he's searching. Cabrera has currently found it. So I think that's reasonable, yeah.
What about Willy Adames, who in 20 games since June 10th is hitting .275 with 5 homers, 15 runs, 1 steal, and OPS near .850. And the quality of contact is amazing during that time. So just wonder if there was a bit of an adjustment period, signs the big contract, the location, playing outdoors again in San Francisco. Would you be looking to trade for Adames now before the numbers kind of catch up to where they should be?
I think that's reasonable. I never wanted to give up on Adames, and I still kept him as a top 18 shortstop, which, given the strength of that position, is still pretty high. So I'm not terribly shocked that he's turned it around, and obviously I think he's better than a 645 OPS or whatever he's at this season. So yeah, I think that's a decent idea. The only problem is the person who has Willy Adames on their team already knows that he started to turn it around, probably. It's possible that they just haven't been paying attention. They've just been frustrated. So, like, are you really going to be able to pull a fast one over on them? I don't know. But I think it's worth trying. Yeah, I do think he's a good middle infielder moving forward.
And somebody you might be able to trade for him is Matthew Boyd, who turned in another quality start, this one against the Guardians. 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, just 7 whiffs on 88 pitches here. There's no doubt that Matthew Boyd has pitched well. 2 earned runs or fewer in 7 straight. He's down to a 2.65 ERA and a 1.08 whip. He also has just a 9% swinging strike rate over his last 9 starts. Underlying numbers say he should be more like a mid to high 3s ERA guy. So I know you've been all over this one, Chris. I agree that I think Matthew Boyd is a sell high. I don't really know that you can get much for him in a trade, but you can try.
Yeah, that's the concern, right? It's just who is looking at Matthew Boyd having, 15 good starts and saying, now that's a guy I need on my team. I think most people are probably pretty skeptical of him. It is a 2.70-ish ERA since the start of last season, 136 or 137 innings. It's not a huge sample size, but maybe there is someone out there who sees that and thinks that Matthew Boyd is legitimately a sub-3 ERA pitcher. And look, if I could get Willy Adames, like you said, I would do that instantly and just figure out the pitching part of it. Just, go add Edward Cabrera and hope he stays solid. Might be Matthew Boyd's teammate soon. But yeah, I think Matthew Boyd is probably more like a 3.75 ERA guy, which is still useful. It's still a solid option, but not nearly as good as he's been, and probably not even a must-start guy.
Yeah, and the big difference between last year and this year, he had a 13.9% swinging strike rate last season, which is an elite mark. This season, it's down to 10.1% overall, and that's even before this start, where that number is going to just come down a little bit more as well. So, not to just downplay, like I think Matthew Boyd is a fine pitcher. You don't have to just sell him. I got to get this guy off my team.
It's not a drop.
Yeah, but if you can, if you could turn him into something valuable, then it's something I would look into doing. This last one, Corey Seager is waking up right now. Last 7 games, 346 batting average, 3 home runs, a 1269 OPS. Chris, there's no question here. It's just please go and try and trade for Corey Seager.
Absolutely. You should be trying to do that for sure.
All right, let's wrap up with some pitching leftovers. First up, the good. Jacob deGrom turned in another quality start, this one against the Orioles. 6 innings, 2 runs with 6 strikeouts. He had 12 whiffs on 92 pitches and has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 15 of 17 starts, including 14 straight. So he has been great. Please, please, please stay healthy. Yoshinobu Yamamoto dominated the White Sox, 7 innings, 1 run with 8 strikeouts, only 10 whiffs on 98 pitches. I did notice a sub 10% swinging strike rate over his last 8 starts, which was a little interesting on Yamamoto. Joe Ryan, tough luck loss at Miami, 7 innings, 1 run with 4 strikeouts for him. And Paul Skeens took yet another no decision, 5 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. Kind of, I don't know, a little weird that he only threw 88 pitches. I just feel like he typically throws more than that. The Pirates,
that's like right in the middle. Like finishing 5 innings and 88 pitches is like, it wasn't exactly easy going. And then you run the risk that if it's an 18 inning or an 18 pitch inning, all of a sudden you're pushing closer to 110 pitches, which I can't imagine he's ever done as a professional. So I get that one's like right in the middle where you'd rather him go deeper. He's thrown 108 as his career high. You'd rather him get that 6th inning, but I can understand why they pulled him. One thing that I thought was interesting, you didn't mention, I don't think Jacob Latz got a save, right? He pitched
he did a 3-inning save.
3-inning save. Okay, it was because I guess they tacked on 3 runs in the 8th inning, so it was probably closer than that when he came in. He pitched in relief here. He had been starting for them previously. I don't know.
I think he left his last start with some kind of injury.
Oh no, his previous appearance was also out of the bullpen. I guess I had missed that. All right, yeah, that's all.
Jacob Latz has been pitching well though. He was someone I had like a deep league eye on if he remained a starter, but it seems like he's pitching out of the bullpen now. Back to Paul Skeens for a second. The Pirates scored 37 runs in the 4 games before this, and then 0 while Skeens is on the mound. They would go on to win the game, but that's just some kind of sick joke, Chris. I mean,
it's I don't know. Like there could be something psychological to it. I know pitchers have talked about like pitching to the score and all that, and like, you know, I think that mostly exists to like puff up Jack Morris's Hall of Fame candidacy, but you see it occasionally where like a team's best pitcher is just getting no run support. Jake DeGrom for years had that problem in New York, and it could just be random, but it's weird that it keeps happening to these guys.
Any concern with Yamamoto's swinging strike rate kind of declining over his last 8 starts?
I hadn't really noticed that. I guess let me make sure, because I feel like what I had seen was the splitter hadn't been quite as effective lately. Yeah, the whiff rate's been below 40% for the splitter in both June and May. So that's a big deal for him. That and the curveball are kind of the 2 big swing and miss pitches for him. So that probably explains it, but I don't see much reason to be concerned. He's been in the majors for 200 innings now, 180 innings, over 35 starts, and he's been really, really good. I don't have much reason to be concerned there.
And then the not so good pitching leftovers. Max Fried did not have his best stuff at Toronto. 6 innings, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 homers allowed, only 5 whiffs on 99 pitches. And Kevin Gausman was erratic on the other side. 5 innings, 2 runs, more walks than strikeouts. 4 walks to 3 strikeouts here for him. 11 hard hits allowed as well. Last 6 starts for Gausman, it's a 5.18 ERA and a 1.45 whip. But, I mean, Chris, it just kind of feels like kind of the Jose Barrios thing where you just have to leave him in the lineup because as soon as you bench him, it's 8 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, I think Kevin Gausman is probably just a high 3s ERA pitcher now. And there will be starts where he looks like a lot better than that because the splitter's really working and he can get whiffs with the fastball, but he's gonna settle in, right? Like right now it's 4.18. The FIP is 3.75. I'll take the FIP, but what I am done with Kevin Gausman is these like random 10 strikeout starts that he has, or like the 8 strikeouts, no walks, where it's like, is Kevin Gausman starting to figure it? No, he's not. It's been going on long enough. This is what he is, and what he is still useful. It's still good. It's still someone you should probably just leave in your lineup and not worry about, oh, am I starting him this week? Just probably start him more often than not, and don't worry about the headache. And then Max Fried, you love to see like worst start of the season is still 6 innings.
Yeah.
Like that's the nice thing about a guy who's that efficient, right? Is even when he doesn't have his best stuff, you've still got a good shot at a win. I know it didn't work out here, but like it rarely goes so terribly for Max Fried that you're upset that you started him.
Yeah, and watching this game too, the inning that he gave up the 3-run homer, it was extended by a bad defensive play by Jazz Chisholm, who
should not be playing third base.
Should not be playing third base.
There was a piece in, I want to say The Athletic, one of the sites today actually talking about. He was like, "Look, I don't make the lineup. I'm going to play wherever they want me to play, but I'm a second baseman, and everyone knows I'm a second baseman." And yeah, he's been much better defensively at second base than third.
Is it crazy that I want the Yankees to sign Jeimer Candelario?
I mean,
he's got to be better than DJ LeMahieu at this point, right? I mean, if you sign him, then you
know what the real move is.
Arenado?
Just take on Arenado's contract. At least he'll be great defensively. And like,
I mean, the problem with that is the Cardinals are actually like
they're in
the wild card race. So I don't know if they're still trading him.
I would guess they'd be happy to get someone to take him off their hands, but
he also has 3 years left. I don't know.
Does he?
3 years on a contract. Jeez. Yeah. Well, I think 2 after this one, but it was 2 before this one.
That's tough. But also, you're the Yankees. You know,
I know, but they've just done this thing so many times, and
I'm pretty sure the Marlins are paying like $10 million of Giancarlo Stanton's contract for the next 2 years, so they're getting a little relief there.
Yeah, all right. You'll take the wins where you could get them. Some hitting leftovers: Shea Bangaliers homers in back-to-back games since coming off the IL. He's up to 12 home runs now on the season. Seiya Suzuki just having an underrated great season. 23rd home run. He's got 70 RBI. He entered Tuesday as the 24th overall player in Roto, 21st best hitter in points leagues. Adolis Garcia keeps hitting. 3 for 5 with a double, 4 RBI. Update, 20 games since receiving that mental break. 275 batting average, 3 homers, 21 RBI in 20 games. Also has 2 steals. Shohei Ohtani joins the 30 home run club that includes Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. And Randy Arozarena, 2 for 4 with his 11th home run, and that's 3 home runs in his past 2 games. So shout out to Randy. Call to the bullpen for the Marlins. Anthony Bender pitched in the 8th inning with a 2-run lead. Ronnie Enriquez got the 9th, and he picked up his 4th save. The Marlins do not have a closer, but Enriquez has back-to-back saves and 3 of their last 4. So do with that what you will. For the Pirates, David Bednar got the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. He allowed 2 base runners, but picked up his 12th save. For the Athletics, Mason Miller got the 10th inning with a 1-run lead. He struck out 2 for his 17th save. For the Cubs, Daniel Palencia struck out 2 for his 9th save. and he has been money. 180 ERA, 0.97 whip, 35 strikeouts over 30 innings. So kind of just feels like the Cubs have figured that out. Good for them. For the Astros, Josh Hader got the 9th inning with a 2-run lead. He did give up a run, but picked up his 24th save of the season. Just seeing now, Carlos Estevez picked up his 23rd save, and there were no other saves. So that's that. To stream or not to stream on Wednesday, we have Mick Abel against the Padres, Nick Martinez at the Red Sox, Brian Bayo against the Reds, Tomoyuki Sugano at the Rangers, Noah Cameron at the Mariners, Landon Roop at the D-backs.
I think Cameron and Bayo are my favorites.
I think that's fair, and I think I would put Landon Roop third on that list. And then on
Probably.
Thursday, we have David Festa at the Marlins, Brandon Walter at the Rockies, Jose Quintana revenge game at the Mets, Luis Ortiz at the Cubs, Cade Horton against the Guardians.
I think Festa's okay. I don't like anybody else here.
Yeah, Brandon Walter's been pitching well. I don't know. Rockies
just
are coming around. It's in Coors Field, you know.
And the Rockies are bad, but at home they have the 18th best WOBA in baseball, which is really bad. By weighted runs created plus, which accounts for how good Coors Field is as a hitting environment, they have the second to last offense in baseball. But you don't get extra points because their WRC plus is lower, right? So I think it's still not a terrible matchup, but a tough place to pitch, and you just don't know how guys are going to react. If Brandon Walter has a great start against the Rockies, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think he's earned the benefit of the doubt to trust him in Coors Field.
I know Cade Horton has been bad lately.
The Guardians have been they're hitting 200 over the last month or something.
Yeah, I was going to it's just I would start almost anybody against the Guardians right now, but last 2 starts for Horton, it's 7 earned runs, 6 runs before that, 3 of those were earned. He's struggling right now, but if you are desperate for a streamer, I think I would take Cade Horton second behind David Festa. We are going to wrap there. For Chris, I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning into Fantasy Baseball today. Please make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.